All right, friends, I wanted to tell you what's going on with this race engine that I'm putting together. I've got some Weisseco pistons that have an unusually low compression height on them. So that's the distance between here and the center of the wrist pin. And if you see the wrist pin, the compression height's so low that it got into the oil land right there where the wrist pin goes, and there's a section missing, of course, on both sides. So you have to buy these. I don't know, you probably can't see it, but it's, yep, you can see that little, looks like a ring underneath of the oil ring. That's called a land support or a groove support, groove lock. Anyway, one of these guys. It looks like a ring. It's got a little dimple on it. So the dimple actually comes into here and sets into here. And it sets tight enough with these 3/16 oil ring cage and everything that it won't rotate beyond that. Oh, I'm just rotating the ring. It's tight. It's like a machine fit, and it doesn't overlap. It clamps in the middle. The butts go together. It's specifically made for this diameter of piston and this oil ring land or oil ring groove. And they're not expensive. They're about $4 a piece. But getting them is another challenge because they're like impossible to get. I got 3 today and I got 5 more I'm waiting on. They're coming from Georgia. Apparently everybody's got them on back order. So anytime you have a piston that has the oil land groove, part of it missing on both sides because it's cut down so far that it's getting into that wrist pin hole, you have to have these. Otherwise, your oil ring, the bottom oil ring is going to end up deforming and bending down into that notch that's cut in there for the wrist pin. So you have to have it. You better have it. Otherwise, you're going to be blowing oil everywhere, and that's just bad. It's really bad. I wanted to go over something else. We have this 54 Ford, and it's got had a rope seal in it. We now have a rubber seal in there. And of course, the main journal cap is the easy part. When you get up into it, that oil ring didn't want to come out, or the rear main seal, which is rope. I have the old one right here. This is the half that went up into the block of the engine. No. This is the other one. The other one's back there. But still, you can see that one's true on the end, right? That come out of the journal cap, and that was fine. But when you're up in the engine, you know, you're up underneath of it. You don't want to drop the crankshaft just to get a rear main out. So you get your screwdriver up in there, and you try to pull it out. Well, it was stuck in there. I mean, we're talking really stuck. And it comes apart like that. You see how that one's coming apart? That's what happens to it. You get the screwdriver up in there, and you try to bend it, pry it and get it to pull out, but it's stuck in there so tight that it won't move. And you end up tearing it off at this end and tearing it off on that end, and then you have this hole in the block of the motor up there on the main journal, and you can't get anything up in there. I have a fix for you, okay? Everybody says, what was that? I don't know, it's a jewel or something. It looks like a little corkscrew that goes up in there, and the guys can't pull them out. My brother has one, Brother Brian, and he likes it. He says it's worked for him in the past, whatever. So what we've got, this is what I came up with, and this worked. It's copper. It's not going to damage your block. It's not going to put any scratches in anything because it's copper. It's built for welding. Okay, so it comes in a strap about 2 feet long, and you can see it's a piece of strap, right? Copper strap for welding. So these guys, when they're welding copper pipes together on air conditioners and stuff, this is what they use. but I have a whole package of it. I figured out that if I cut a piece of this, and it was straight, this thing was straight, and I take a piece of needle nose vice grips and clamp them on right here, and I push it up into the hole in the block where that rear main is setting. It's setting up in here. Of course, it's all boogered up, so it's up inside of there. You can't get a hold of it with a pair of pliers or nothing. Well, this guy will get up around there and go around the back side of it, and it will bend to follow the journal because it's nice and soft and it's not going to cut anything. So what you do is you get that all the way around like that, okay? And then you take this end, the other end of it, and you put a little loop hook in it. And that loop hook is not large enough to where it's going to make it all the way across and grab a hold of your crankshaft. Even if it did, it probably won't scratch it because, again, soft material, softer than brass. Now, what you're going to do when you pull this in there, you're going to get it all the way through, and then when you get on this side, you're going to grab a hold of it with those needle nose vice grips, and you're going to pull this, and it'll follow through in that groove, and it'll grab a hold of that rear main. When you do this, turn the crankshaft at the same time you're pulling on this, and it will roll that rope rear main seal out of the rear main without any heartache, without shoving any steel in there, nothing hardcore, nothing that's going to scratch your crank. Okay? Now, if you have any questions, put them down in the comments section. But if you're having trouble getting a rope seal out and you're really struggling with it, I hope you catch this video and you're able to decipher all this information I'm spewing out to you, because there's no other videos on YouTube other than go get this jewel, or they've got the block sitting, you know, upside down on an engine stand. This is not engine stand material. This is in the cradle. And we have a rope seal that's stuck in the block and will not come out. This is what you got to use. Track down an air conditioning repair guy or the welder that's driving by that's got all the air conditioning lines hanging in his truck and say, hey, I need something from you. You might even be able to go to your HVAC shop or HVAC sales facility. Tell them you need one of these, or just a piece. You know, a 1 foot piece is more than enough to do the job. Cut it to length, slip it up inside of there, use your needle nose vice grips, clamp them on, and then take a hammer and tap where that nut is on the back side of the vice grips, and that'll push this guy right up in there. It'll form, and it's a champ. This is the bomb, and this is what I'll always use from now on when I deal with a rope seal. I hope this helps y'all out. Again, post any questions in the comments section. Have a great week.